Here are 65 bizarre and fascinating facts from history, curated from across the centuries and around the globe. These surprising stories reveal the strange, shocking, and often overlooked moments that have shaped our world. Royalty and rulers. 1. A Roman emperor, equine senator. Emperor Caligula allegedly planned to appoint his horse Incitatus as a Roman consul, complete with a marble stall and ivory manger. 2. The wealthiest man ever. Roman Emperor Augustus Caesar had an estimated net worth of $4.6 trillion, adjusted for inflation, making him the wealthiest person in history. 3. Buried alive. Alexander the Great may have been buried alive. Modern scientists theorize he suffered from Guillain-Barré syndrome, which left him paralyzed but mentally aware at the time of his presumed death. 4. A glass delusion. King Charles VI of France believed he was made of glass and wore reinforced clothing to avoid shattering. 5. Richard the Lionheart, absence. He spent only 6 months of his 10-year reign in England. Police and presidential pet Satan. U.S. President John Adams named his dog Satan. 7. Presidential sheep. Woodrow Wilson kept sheep on the White House lawn during WWI to cut gardening costs. Their wool was auctioned for the Red Cross. 8. Assassination attempts. Britain's King George III survived 2 assassination attempts in one day in 1800. 9. Royal dental decay. Queen Elizabeth I's teeth were blackened from excessive sugar consumption. 10. Animal armor. Henry VIII had a suit of armor custom-made for his dog. War and conflict. 11. A rabbit ambush. Napoleon Bonaparte was once attacked and forced to retreat by a swarm of rabbits during a hunt. 12. Execution by gold. After the Parthians killed Roman general Marcus Crassus, they poured molten gold down his throat as a symbol of his infamous greed. 13. Shrapnel's namesake. The term shrapnel comes from British officer Henry Shrapnel, who invented an early explosive shell. 14. The U.S. Army's growth. It expanded from 190,000 troops in 1939 to 8.5 million in 1945 during White Wood. 15. German unexploded bombs. Germany still uncovers roughly 2,000 tons of unexploded White II bombs annually. 16. A master interrogator, kindness. Nazi interrogator Hans Scharf was famously effective using kindness, nature walks, and homemade food instead of torture. 17. Postcard intelligence. The UK government collected holiday postcards of European coasts to help plan the D-Day landings. Nuclear chicken heater. The UK considered a nuclear bomb project called Blue Peacock that would use live chickens to keep the mechanism warm in cold German climates. 19. Luftwaffe test flights for POWs. Some Allied POWs were treated to test flights in German fighter planes by their captors. 20. EMU War. The Australian Army officially declared war on EMUs in 1932 and lost. 4 days. Justice and crime. 21. Animal trials. In the Middle Ages, animals, including pigs, were put on trial, dressed in human clothes, and sometimes executed. 22. A pig's execution. In 1386, a pig in France was executed by hanging for murdering a child. 23. Rat court. In 1510, rats were put on trial for destroying a barley field. Their lawyer argued they couldn't attend court due to fear of local cats. 24. Prohibition poisoning. During U.S. Prohibition, the government deliberately poisoned alcohol to discourage drinking, killing thousands. 25. Metropolitan police quirks. A 1839 law in London still technically criminalizes knocking on a door and running away, flying kites, or sliding on ice. 18. Ancient worlds. 26. Egyptian mouse paste. Ancient Egyptians used mashed mice as a remedy for toothaches and ear infections. 27. Mummy mania. Victorians held mummy unwrapping parties, and some even nibbled on mummies as medicine. 28. Cleopatra East timeline. Her reign, 51 to 30 BC, was closer to the moon landing, 1969, than to the construction of the Great Pyramid, 2560 BC. 29. Grecian nudity. Ancient Greek athletes competed naked in the Olympics to emulate the gods and improve sweating. 30. Viking pioneers. They reached North America around 1000 AD, nearly 500 years before Columbus. 31. Colosseum marble. The iconic Roman amphitheater was originally clad in marble, later stripped by looters. 2. Gladiatrices. Female gladiators, gladiatrices, fought in Rome, though they were rarer than males. 33. Forks as blasphemy. When forks first arrived in Europe, the Catholic Church condemned them as decadent, arguing God gave us natural forks, fingers. 34. Redhead vampires. Ancient Greeks believed redheads turned into vampires after death. 35. Elephant executions. In parts of Asia, trained elephants were used for public executions into the 19th century. Science and medicine. 36. Einstein's brain stolen. After his death, the pathologist stole Einstein's brain without permission. It was later donated to a museum. 37. 38. Mumps vaccine record. The previous record for fastest vaccine development was 4 years, mumps 1967, until COVID-19 vaccines broke it in 11 months. 39. Mysterious laughter epidemic. In 1962, a laughter outbreak in a Tanzanian school spread to thousands and forced closures for months. 40. CIA LSD experiments. From 1953-1973, the CIA gave unsuspecting civilians LSD to test its potential for mind control. 41. Dolphin language experiment. In the 1960s, researcher Margaret Howe lived with a dolphin to teach it English. The dolphin became overly attached and died soon after separation. 42. Tomato fear. 18th century Europeans feared tomatoes were poisonous because people died after eating them. The real culprit was lead leaching from pewter plates. 43. Pineapple status symbols. In 18th century Europe, pineapples were so luxurious that aristocrats rented them as party centerpieces rather than eating them. 44. Quarantine origin. The term comes from the Venetian quarantina, 40 days, referring to isolation periods during the Black Death. 45. Birth control by sniff test. A 17th century king of Arakan chose wives by blindly sniffing their sweaty clothes after they stood in the sun. Culture and society. 46. OK's origins. The term OK emerged from an 1830s Boston fad for misspelled abbreviations like all correct. 47. Overdue library book. One book was returned to Sydney Sussex College 288 years late. 48. Singing birthday card power. A modern singing birthday card has more computing power than the entire Allied army in Town. 49. Skyscraper grandparent. The world's first iron-framed skyscraper was built in Shropshire, England in 1797. 50. Blackening the bride. In 18th and 19th century Scotland and Ireland, brides and grooms were covered in soot or mud to ward off evil spirits. 51. Drunk in a pub. It has been illegal to be drunk in a British pub since 1872. 52. Rasputin's death. He survived poisoning and multiple gunshots before finally being drowned. 53. Hippo ranches proposed. In 1910, a U.S. congressman suggested ranching hippos to solve America's meat shortage, calling them Lake Cow Bacon. 54. Fruit machine. Canada developed a fruit machine in the 1960s to identify gay people by measuring pupil dilation while showing them images. 55. Samurai soul escape. Samurai left a hole in their helmet so their soul could escape after death. Animals in nature. 56. Mammoth coexistence. Woolly mammoths still lived on Russia's Wrangel Island, while Egyptians built the pyramids. 57. Genghis Khan's progeny. DNA suggests he has more 16 million living descendants today. 58. Shark attack record. The sinking of the USS Indianapolis in 1945 led to history's worst shark attack concentration, with 600 sailors killed by sharks. 59. Niagara Falls survivor's irony. A man who survived a barrel ride over Niagara Falls later slipped on an orange peel, suffered a fatal infection from the injury. 60. Boston molasses flood. A 50-foot tank of molasses exploded in 1919, sending a 2.3 million-gallon wave at 35 mph through Boston, killing 21. Cause, business, and politics. Business plot. In 1933, wealthy U.S. businessmen plotted to overthrow FDR and install a fascist regime. They were exposed by General Smedley Butler. 62. FBI harassment of MLK. The FBI wiretapped Martin Luther King Jr., sent him blackmail letters, and told him to kill himself. 63. Thomas Crapper's toilet myth. He popularized the flushing toilet but didn't invent it. The word crap also predates him. 64. Vienna's infamous residence. In 1913, Stalin, Hitler, Trotsky, and Tito all lived in Vienna simultaneously. 65. Germany's Day of Fate. Numerous pivotal events in German history occurred on November 9th, including the abdication of Kaiser Wilhelm II, 1918, Hitler's Beer Hall Putsch, 1923, Kristallnacht, 1938, and the fall of the Berlin Wall, 1989. This collection showcases history's unpredictability, blending tragedy, innovation, and sheer oddity. For even more fascinating facts, explore the sources cited throughout this list.